Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. 2025 is the year of making, is the year to make or break Kenya Kwanza administration. If William Ruto is going to get the second term, that decision here is 2025. And I'm saying this because I think even politicians that had taken a back seat are moving in front. They are strategizing and they are making their intentions to be known. At a time, but we need to have this, at a time the government is facing hostility. Maybe it is this time that now people have taken chance to show or to present their candidature as alternatives. Today, the former Interior CS Fred Matiang'i, who worked under Uhuru Kenyatta, attended a funeral service in Gatundu South, PCA, Ituro. That funeral service was for Joyce Gathoni, sister to David Gesheru. David Gesheru was the former deputy head of mission at the Embassy of Kenya in Washington, D.C. So you need to connect some dots. That deputy head of mission, Matiang'i had also been spending time in Washington. And by that time, he worked with Matiang'i when Matiang'i was in the interior docket. Of course, I understand that there is nothing unusual by attending a funeral service of someone you know. Politicians are not robots. Politicians also have the relative connections and those relationships with friends. So I want to believe, apart from the fact that Matiang'i worked together with David Gesheru, there is also the aspect of friendship between the two. And in that church service, he was accompanied by former ICT CS Gesheru, who also exited the cabinet with former President Uhuru Kenyatta. It was, according to a report that we've seen, it was anticipated that former President Uhuru Kenyatta was supposed to attend that church service, since David Gesheru, who lost the sister, was his personal friend. And it comes from Gatundu South. Gatundu South is the home constituency to former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And in that service, the former CS Matiang'i is the one that relayed personal tributes from the former President Uhuru Kenyatta to the family. So Matiang'i is reported to have represented the former President Uhuru Kenyatta in that service. I realized that quite a number of other vocal leaders from that area were not present, but Matiang'i was accompanied by the leaders and the officials who worked under former President Uhuru Kenyatta. It is anticipated that Uhuru Kenyatta is out of the country, so he could not attend that. But I made some observations. I made an observation that will be key to this analysis. You remember Wajango, who was a Kiambu gubernatorial candidate in the run-up to 2022 general election. He was actually in UDA. So before he was in UDA and went for nominations, that is Wajango, Kafogo, Wamatangi, and I think there was also Waititu, before Waititu was locked out of that race by the court. And when Wamatangi was given the ticket, they walked out of UDA and ran as an independent candidate. So Wajango was a candidate by then. No, he actually went and registered his own party. So went But in 2022, he vied as an independent candidate. Now, he was the only political operative who was there. And he spoke before Matiang'i. Of course, the focus was on what Matiang'i was saying there, or the presence of Matiang'i. And in a direct statement, he said about the need to have one candidate, campaigning for Matiang'i there, and saying that he had met Rigathi and other leaders and Kalonzo, and they would want to form one big coalition to present one presidential candidate.
Our country, hatuwezi kusimama tuangalie nchi ikiharibiwa. We have decided, we have agreed that this country is going to be one, and we are going to claim it from those people who peddle lies. Tumechoka na shisha, tumechoka na vaccines za ng'ombe, tumechoka na uongo, hatufanyi kaongo tena. So what we have decided is, Jango has a party called TNP, the National Party, and that party you are free to join, *509#, and when you join it, this party, I'm also calling Dr. Matiang'i aingie hapo. Nimeongea na yeye sahi. Nimeongea na yeye. Hata sisi Mushero nimeongea na yeye sahi. Tunaingia hapo, na in fact last week nilikuwa Wamunyoro last Thursday. Na tukaongea na Wamunyoro akasema ataya akodani. Tumesema hivi, we just need one presidential candidate. Now this country, by the way, if you remember what Dr. Matiang'i did to this country, then you know what I am talking about. Already in this church we have a president. In this church. Amen. We have a president. In 2027 August 10th, we have a president. And usiniache mbali sana daktari, hata mimi niko hapo karibu nitakupatia chama. So between now and 2027, we are going to make a very incredible opposition. We are not going to agree for our people to go without health care, without school, with the funny housing schemes. We are not agreeing to this. And if people think that they can peddle lies, we are going to counteract those lies, because that we have the passion to do this, and this is what God has called us to do.
That statement from Wajango, in politics, people don't just meet and say, agree, this is what we're saying. I want to say that Wajango cannot take the microphone to praise Matiang'i and make a political statement in that angle if he had not spoken with Matiang'i even before Matiang'i went there. So he said he had met Rigathi. So he's making a statement that even here we have a presidential candidate. To that end, if you realize, if you look at, if you analyze that speech, you will understand that probably Matiang'i's camp had already had a conversation. It was part of the plan so that they make that statement. So Matiang'i is not someone new. Matiang'i is one person who is known there. And just I realized by the time Matiang'i was walking out, he had some informal talk with someone there, and I wanted to get not even before that. Now inside, when Matiang'i was giving his speech, he said, and he responded to a jungle that I have heard you.
You discover that we are all one people, and the challenges we face and whatever happens to us happens to all of us as one people. Shida zetu ama our challenges do not distinguish between which part of the country you come from, which tribe you belong to, where do you go to church, and so on and so forth. Ama namna gani? Basi tufuate vile tunaelezwa na viongozi wetu hapa wa kanisa, tupendane, tusidi kuombeana na kukaa pamoja. Mheshimiwa Jango, I have heard.
So you can see that he did not disassociate with what Wajango was saying. He said, I have heard you. And also just talking about the current political discourse going on in the country. And in the same place, Wajango was also praising Muturi for what Muturi had done to make the statement on William Ruto administration. So this is it. This comes at a time Jubilee Party has also activated their visibility in Mount Kenya. 2 days ago, the current Secretary General, I believe is the Secretary General after all those shenanigans, Jeremiah Kioni, hinted at working with Rigathi Gachagua. But he said that even if Wamaua is vying, and I think Jeremiah Kioni was talking in Murang'a, that let Jubilee candidate be allowed to face off with Rigathi's party candidates.
We want to involve Jubilee Party, we want the young people. I want to support the people who say, we have no fight with the regime. Let me tell you, mimi sina vita na yeye. Kwanza ni mzuri kwa sababu yale tulikuwa tunamwambia zamani, sasa ameelewa na amekuja tupigane naye. Kwa hiyo mpigieni makofi. He has finally come around to see that what they did was very wrong. Na mtu akiona yale alifanya ni makosa, unamkubali. Ni sawa? Yes, but I also want to tell you, if this young man wants to run for the seat of Kadara, for example, najua chake iko hapo. Huyu ndio wa Jubilee. Hebu kuja tu. Kwanza nimekupenda kwa sababu you have mentored very many young people. This guy is looking for a seat, the seat of Jubilee, Maragwa. Yes? Mbunge wa Maragwa anaitwa nani? Kumbe unajua. Ati anaitwa kwa chama gani? Sinio mmesema? Na huyu ni wa Jubilee. Kwani Chege ataenda kupata hiyo kiti na kupepereza wa Maua? Lazima waambie wa Maua mtupitishe finance bill. Ilikuwa baya. Vijana waliuao mkiwa bunge, hiyo ni makosa. Halo? Kwa hivyo lazima watanyoroshana. Na mimi nitakuja kusaidia kunyorosha hiyo yellow fever. That's why we are here.
A clear indication that a Jubilee Party is warming up for Rigathi Gachagua. But I know it is politically suitable at this time. This time, Kenya Kwanza is facing greatest turmoil, trouble. That, and I said it, we said in this podcast here that what William Ruto is facing within 2 years, Uhuru did not even face that within the first 5 years of his regime. And that is why so many other analysts say there is a lot of introspecting that is needed. The regime needs to do a lot of introspecting. And at this time, electorates can be confused, or electorates can be carried away by the hype. I have seen an attempt, and that statement, what that leader is saying there is, we need one presidential candidate to beat Ruto. Yes, probably it's true. But then, I would want you to listen to what Ruto says. There is a key factor that I would want to tell William Ruto's opponents, those who want to contest against this current regime. Ruto anasema that mjipange in 2027, mimi tutakuja na track record, nitakuja na barabara, nitakuja na SHA, nitakuja na what, nitakuja na all that. But anasema mjipange. It will not be enough. I've seen Okia Mtata. Remember, it will not just be enough. It is not enough just to shout Ruto must go and have the social media hype. It is not just enough to do that. You must have a proper plan. The statement from Oscar Sudi that when the votes don't add up, we will top up, is not just a light statement. I agree with those who feel that what Sudi is saying in public is something that they must have discussed in private. And even Ruto is just shocked on how he's dealing with people who can't have emotional intelligence. And probably was not supposed to say it. But that could be something they're discussing. that was discussed in private. And I've seen a lot of effort on online and talking with the people in the social media. I can tell you that even the state is key and is pushing people to speak about Ruto in social media. They're very comfortable about it. The discussion about online critics, they're very comfortable about it. But those who want to face Ruto must go kwa ground. They must go kwa ground. And in this podcast, I want to explain the four quick things that those who want to unseat Ruto must do. It's a matter of, it's quick. Otherwise, the race is not as easy as people might think. When Sudis are saying, tukiwa wapi, we will add votes is potosha, it is not a lightweight. You must mobilize vote registration. The numbers is a key variable in any election. The factor is the numbers. IEBC is not fully constituted, but IEBC offices are open. You know? And to some point, the vote registration will start. It is this time that you need to start mobilizing people even to take IDs, to register for IDs. I believe Matian'gi was in government for 10 years. He understands the machinery of suppressing vote. If this IBC is constituted 6 months to an election, and that time they open voter registration, they'll start doing mass vote registration, but reduce printing of IDs. So you must look at the best, and your voice should be, you must tell young people that ID, go and apply for ID if you don't have. And you must also tell young people that you don't need mass voter registration to register as a voter. You can even register now. You can walk to IBC and register. That needs to start. That needs to start. Because Sudis are talking about numbers. Number 2. You must consolidate a popular base. And the word popular, aggressive base with a very informed and strategic chain of command. I love everything with what Rigathi is doing. Let me tell you. You know, we look at Rigathi as someone who is ajajipanga, but look at what he's doing in Wamunyoro. He's meeting delegation every day. No, he's consolidating and he's picked Wamunyoro as the place. So, wale ambao wanataka kule Mount Kenya, ni kama there is an image, there is a perception being created that you need to go to Wamunyoro. And visitors have started trooping to Wamunyoro. I can tell you, I will not be shocked to see Muturi going to Wamunyoro. People leaving Ruto administration, you resign, then go to Wamunyoro. He started creating it. At a time the country was talking about abductions, I saw Gatundu Mushomba and Garungo Dhangwa and those MPs around Rigathi calling a press briefing in Nairobi. And they got audience. That story was number 2 in the mainstream media. And they got newspaper headline. So, Matiang'i, if Matiang'i wants to be the president, it is not just in the social media. I have a bone to chew with Kalonzo Musyoka. Last minute, he will start arguing on whether he becomes a presidential candidate or a running mate. But Kalonzo Musyoka have a political party that is already established with the grassroots network, with elected leaders, more than Gachagua. But I'm yet to see a press briefing by leaders around Rigathi, around Kalonzo, talking about the national discourse. I know UPA, that party by Matiang'i, doesn't have numbers. It was just started the other day. But where is Kalonzo? So defeating Ruto is not just shouting Ruto must go in the street. Ruto is saying, mimi nitakuja na hii na hii na hii. Na yeye anaenda ground. And he has the machinery of hijacking an MP building a gate to the school, hijacking some water tap being launched somewhere, hijacking some classroom, you know. So you must find a way to go to the people. You must go, must present yourself to the people. Even if you don't have money, you must take yourself there. The other issue is this. Ruto is having a sacred card known as tribal mobilization. And now anyone who wants to beat Ruto must defeat that card. This discussion of nimeleta watu pamoja, broad-based, there is nothing like broad-based to achieve government agenda. The broad-based is a platform being created to allow for fellows to be picked from tribes to represent their tribes in the political table, so that the 2027 cake is divided amongst them. That is it. So when the Gen Z said we are tribeless and formless, William Ruto's opponent must not be formless. He must be tribeless but not formless. Must be tribeless but not formless. And I think the candidate must have an ideology. Never again should someone vote in Rigathi as a president because Rigathi was impeached by Ruto regime. That is not a ground of electing Rigathi. And never again should someone just vote Okiya Mtata because Okiya Mtata is an activist, or because Okiya Mtata was tweeting against Ruto. Even when Ruto was using euphoria and acrimony against Uhuru Kenyatta, he came up with some pseudo political slogan, bottom-up economic model. Now, let me tell you, by the time Ruto was campaigning, Mwananchi, if you'll go to where some, just talk to people after Ruto has left, you know, he created the picture. Ulikuwa unaona, hii ni bottom-up. Mimi hapa bali nimetoka, hata yeye alikuwa anauza kuku, anataka nitoke kwa hiki tunafanya, nikuwe nayo. I once did an interview in Nyeri and I got it when a boda guy, is a lady, was telling me, hata sisi tulikuwa tunajua hii boda sasa tutaacha because sasa bei boda itakuwa nini, tutakuwa sasa tutakuwa na magari. Such was created. I'm not saying you create such a fake model, but I'm saying you must mainstream an ideology. There is something that Ruto has brought in the country, and you cannot take that away. Now, the country is talking about policies. Yes. It's talking about SHA, about that funding model, about the funding for the projects, about kakistocracy, just putting people in power, putting people in positions without due diligence. So, you must show us the change. What is your idea? What are you going to do? Ruto has brought up affordable housing. He's saying it's going to solve a housing problem. Yes, we've said housing is not a problem. The problem is about income. What is your thinking on that area? What is the alternative? He's talking about SHA. He's moved it. You're not going to come then move people to NHIF. What are you going to do? What is to be done different? So that discussion has to be done. Even if it might not be a euphoria. And don't lie. Because if you lie, even if you beat Ruto today, the next day the country will rise against you.